Welcome to Street Circle Drive here on the Mesh Podcast Network. Street Circle Drive is your Hickory, North Carolina-centric podcast for people who love Hickory, North Carolina. I'm your host today, Andrew Moose. We couldn't do this podcast without you, and we sincerely do appreciate you listening here today. We'd appreciate it if you'd head over to themesh.tv and subscribe to this show and all the others you might be currently not even aware of right now. On our podcast, we have Countries with John Reap, Kathleen Madigan's Pubcast, I Guess We'll Do It with Pat House, tons of other Hickory organic podcasts that are being produced right here in Western North Carolina. So after you listen to this podcast, why don't you just tell a friend about us? We'd really appreciate it. And if you're someone who's interested in advertising on the Mesh, head over to themesh.tv and hit the advertise button for more information. It's a low-cost way to reach a targeted audience. So today on Street Circle Drive, we have a very special guest. So just a little backstory for everyone. Some of you guys might remember a few years ago on the Street Circle Drive podcast, Mary Margaret and McNally thought it would be a great idea to take me to Lake Hickory haunts and get a really good chuckle at my expense because they know how much I get freaked out over haunted stuff. And I wanted to take this podcast today to invite the proprietor of Lake Hickory Haunts onto the podcast. I'd like to welcome Ryan Settlemeyer. What's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you, Andrew?
Man, I'm doing great. I cannot complain one bit. I bet you guys are just absolutely wide open right now, huh?
Yeah, man. First of all, thanks for having me on, man. It's a great podcast you have going on here.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, and we are busy right now. This is our right about the peak of our season, so it is a crazy time, but it's a good time, because you get bored, don't have anything to do. I'd rather be wide open than nothing,
Oh, absolutely. So, first, when Mary Margaret McNally told me, a couple years when we were start talking about this, I had heard about Lake Hickory haunts, but I wasn't really sure what it was. Can you give us a little bit of backstory, maybe like how this whole thing came about and, basically how you got started?
Okay. So first, I guess a lot of ways you can spin it. So one, I've always loved haunted houses, haunted attractions. I love fall. I love the fall season. I love everything about it. But mainly I love scaring people and I love putting on a show. And that started really, if we start all the way back, I guess the first inspiration that I had was from my dad, who his name's Scott. My dad acted in the Hudson JCs over in Caldwell County back when he was 16. And from there, he started to enjoy it. So then he did some, volunteer haunted trails of his own, different things like that. And then when I was a kid, when I was, 7 years old, we did our first volunteer haunted trail together at his house over in Hudson. And, I acted then. I ran a chainsaw as a 7-year-old, and I also ran the opening talking skit. And then the next year I played a guy that lost his head from the guillotine because I was short. So, that worked out perfect for the costume. And then from there, man, just over the years, another funny story. Also, my mom and dad, when my mom was pregnant with me, they went through what was at the time the scariest haunt in the country, which was Terror on Church Street in Orlando, Florida. Okay. So I always make the joke that I've been hooked on scaring since I was in the womb because that's when it started. And from there, man, it just kind of progressed, and then we opened back in 2012. We had some partners. It was my dad and I and some partners, and then now over the years things have progressed, changed, and now of course I'm the 100% owner at this point. But I could go on forever about how this came about.
Right on, man. That's real cool. It's I love hearing that backstory where, you have stuff like this in your blood. And that's what I think that goes for a lot of things in our community. A lot of people kind of do fall into the family business and the family and the things that, each family has, interest in. I think that's really cool that you've kind of picked up where your dad was and then just completely expounded this thing to what it is now. Lake Hickory Haunts is in Colony Springs, right outside of Hickory, and this is a permanent spot for you guys, right? It stays there year round.
Yeah. So for technically, so that's actually a funny point. Google and Facebook are showing our address as Connolly Springs. But our address is Hickory.
Okay.
It's Hickory. It's always been Hickory, but we're kind of in Roadhiss. Like we're inside of Roadhiss, although we're out of the county limits. We're out of the county, so our address is Hickory. But Google keeps changing that to Conley Springs for some reason. But as long as it gets them there, that's the main thing. So, but yeah, it is permanent. A lot of people, are surprised when they find out that it's my full-time job and has been for a while now. They say, when you start working on it, and
November 1st.
We don't stop.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job, man. It's, it really is. You work all year long and do every single little detail and every single attraction throughout all of the premises just to get it ready. And then, season comes and then you've got thousands of people that are going to be coming through and, all kinds of people. Some of them get scared and start, it's like a bull in a china shop, literally. And then some people, we've got some people who try to be aggressive and we have to deal with those issues. But needless to say, not only when we're building sets, we build the building and we do it structurally sound, and we build our stuff to last, just like you would, even more so than a house sometimes, and then, so it takes a lot of work, a lot of detail, and a lot of preparation. People really have no idea how much goes into it.
Right, and you guys do change your set a lot. What's the most challenging thing that you guys go through every year?
The most challenging every year. Good question.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's just say this. I know this year there's been a lot of challenges for everybody through COVID. What type of things have you had to do different? If you've had to do anything different with the pandemic going on?
So the biggest challenge this year was the anxiety leading up to season. So the shutdowns started throughout the country right before the big trade show we go to each year. Each year we go to Trans World Halloween and Attractions Trade Show in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
And that is in mid to late March. So we had that scheduled and planned. And literally the week before that is when the shutdown started in major cities. So North Carolina was still open, but St. Louis shut down. So from there on, and I had already started our new attraction, which is Aquaphobia, and from there on, it was basically a matter of, okay, are we going to be able to open? What do we need to do? And where are the guidelines we can find? And we got a lot of guidelines in May, but then really between late May and all the way up to a month, maybe before season, there wasn't a whole lot of guidelines coming out for us. So it was extremely difficult. And to be honest, a lot of us haunt owners across the state and country, major haunts, I'll say, we all, had to talk with each other and, conference calls and things like that, and all working together on our plans and preparations to make sure that everybody was on the same page and prepared when the time came. And then, ironically, the week before our opening date, we did postpone our season by a week, and then a week before we opened, we actually went ahead and went into phase 3. So, man, it was a blessing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And a part of everything that you guys do requires manpower and teamwork and all that good stuff. How many employees do you guys have? How many people are out there just scaring the bejesus out of your visitors? Because when I went, it felt like there was 100 people in that place.
You're close. So on any given night, we really we need about 80 to 90 employees total. So then therefore, total on payroll on staff, you're looking at 150 that we have just seasonal. Is how many we have on staff.
Wow, that's great, man. That's I figured it was going to be that high, but what I thought was just awesome is the amount of folks that are in costume out there that are just there's from the time you walk in until the time you leave. There's always something going on. You have the pavilion or midway. I think you call it the midway, correct?
Yep.
And, so you have like basically sideshows, and then you have the whole main attraction. You've got concessions and all kinds of cool stuff. Is this one of the bigger haunts around?
Yes. So there's, there's some good haunts across the state. But as far as, nearby, yes, absolutely. I would, and not to sound arrogant in any way, but, just, The fact is, I would argue that there's not a longer haunt as far as distance, space. There may be some smaller haunts that could keep you in there for longer, right? Because they have time and they don't have as many customers coming. So, they can stop you and do a skit and stuff. But as far as size, length, definitely, yeah, we are, the biggest haunt, definitely within 2 hours radius for sure.
Right. Whenever we went 2 years ago, that was my first time going to your spot.
Yeah, I remember.
From when we walked in to when we left the main attraction, I think it was like 45 minutes or something like that. And that's bang for your buck, man. That is a great deal.
Yeah, so Norm, actually, well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah.
Because we really have worked hard on it. I mean, but the thing is building it. I wanted to build from the ground up, so not to get off track. But some attractions they want to open, and then from the get-go, they put a large part of their budget into advertising just to get people out there as almost like a cash grab. Whereas from the beginning, I wanted to build ours like a business because it is a business,
right.
And so I built it from the inside out, and it took a team of so many people. But that's all the way from fire safety to the buildings structurally sound to the electrical, and then to the sets and the lighting and the props and the scare spots, basically from the inside out, and then I said, okay, now I feel comfortable advertising and advertising to any haunt customer in the United States and having them coming to our attraction, and they will see that it is more bang for their buck than they paid for. Because the industry standard, to come back to your question, the standard for a haunt is $1 per minute. So, you're looking at our average general admission ticket price is about $25. So, $25, and you're looking at $1 a minute is the standard. It would 25 minutes and it would be worth it. So like you said, you're looking at 45 minutes walkthrough time, not including the midway and the side attractions and everything else. So yeah, that's something we get a lot is like, or not a lot, but some, local folks that have never been before and aren't necessarily enthusiasts, they come and then, before they come, they're like, well, that's pricey for a haunt, but they don't know how much we put into it,
right?
And how much it takes. Like truly, trust me, it was a long time before this business turned any sort of profit whatsoever. I mean, everything has gone back into it, all the way up until, we were borrowing money every single year just to get open until literally maybe last year, was the first year that we were able to comfortably open without, going in debt.
Right.
Or maybe it was this year. I don't recall. But anyways, yeah, so it, we feel it's valuable, and especially considering all the work that we've put in over the years, we certainly hope that the customers appreciate it.
No, absolutely. And, I fell into that category too, Ron. Whenever we were talking about reviewing Lake Hickory Haunts a couple years ago. We looked at the ticket prices. I was like, dang, I was like, what is this place? Because I'd never been. And I show up and I'm like, holy cow. I was like, this is the real deal. This looks like the freaking like a haunted Renaissance fair. I mean, this thing is enormous, and that's what I want to stress to our listeners is like, this is not just like a haunted trail put on by a church, not to down haunted trails put on by a church. But you know what I'm saying? Like, this thing is a full-blown production that, and if you didn't know it was there and you go, you're going to want to go every year because you guys do change a lot of stuff from year to year, right?
Right. And I do remember on the podcast, I remember you saying, when I listened to it, you said, I don't know where they get their actors from, if they bring them in from out of town, if it's like a circus, or you know, something along those lines. And I wanted to make a note to say, no, the majority, if not all of our actors are, not all of them, most of them are local. Some we bring in with special guest actors. We had the screen used Jeepers Creepers truck here last weekend. And we do different things like that. But our actors deserve the credit as well as our actor trainers. So, we have a great, training team and a great acting manager whose name is Allie, who works very hard with our actors. And we're proud of the fact that most of our actors didn't have experience before working here, as well as our makeup artists, by the way.
Oh, really?
So if you notice any makeup that looked cool or looked good, these folks, they've been self-taught and taught by us from the ground up.
Right.
Almost all of our makeup artists have. So, anyways, I got off topic on that.
No, man, question for sure. And I tell you what, just kind of it turned on a light bulb for me is, you were on John Reap's podcast this week too, and I watched it. It was hilarious. I love watching John and Isaiah get scared. It was really funny. You guys can check him out on the Mesh too. But when I heard those blood-curdling screams from those scary people, man, I was like, okay, first of all, that sounds like something out of like a Hollywood film. And now it all kind of comes together because, like, if these people were like basically trained to do that, it makes complete sense because I get freaked out about stuff like that, obviously, but I just thought it was great. It was fantastic for what for what you guys are doing, man. It is so wild. I can't even explain it.
Well, really, I appreciate that. It means a lot because that's why I do it, and that's why we do it. Is to provide an experience,
right?
And we start training. By the way, we start training in the summer.
Hey guys, this is Moose. I just wanted to take a quick second to interrupt the podcast and thank our sponsors, Time Genies. Karen Tonks and her crew over at Time Genies can make your life so much easier. Time Genies can clean and organize your home and business. They can stage your house before you put it on the market. They can help you move after it sells, or they can help you just run errands for you on a busy day. We use Time Genies over here at the Mesh Studios, and we really couldn't be happier with their services. Visit www.time-genies.com for more details. And now back to Street Circle Drive here on the Mesh.
We're actor training in the summer, so and makeup training. So like I said, we. When we charge, of course, I as the owner, I make the decision what we charge. So when I charge a price, that ticket is going to be more valuable than what we're charging because, that's what I want. I want to provide more value than we're asking for in return. So, like, for example, we have our VIP passes that we offer, which is $55 plus tax, of course. But that includes immediate access to the front door, free VIP T-shirt, and 2 midway attractions of your choice, which are normally $5 a piece.
Right.
So, and just so you know, over the years, customers have got those and realized the value of them. And then this year, we've already sold out of how many VIP passes we have twice. we've already sold out of them twice. So, people are buying them like crazy because of that value. And then, like you said, to circle back around to, do we change stuff? Yes, we're always doing something new. We're always trying to reinvent the wheel. We don't necessarily change. We don't change all of the sets, like as far as going in, and because some other haunts you go to may be temporary structures, right? Whereas the majority of ours are not temporary. They are permanent. For example, we have Descent that we built in 2018, which I'm sure you remember going through, that would have been the year you went, probably.
Right,
Descent
yeah.
was new. So Descent is literally underground. It's 12 feet underground. And, we had to bring in, it was about 6,000 pound retaining blocks to stack up, underground after digging it.
Right.
And then we brought in 4 decommissioned oil drums, and I had my fabricator plasma cut, doors in those. And then, just so much work. And then this year we have Aquaphobia, where you walk across the water on a floating dock, literally out over the water, and then go into a fishing village, which, by the way, Aquaphobia is the coolest, most detailed, most elaborate, and amazing attraction we've ever built by far, hands down. It is good enough to be a Disney or Universal queue line.
Right.
I would bet money on that.
That's awesome, man. So, hey, if and I know you're a busy, man, so I'm going to let you go. So if our listeners are, want to go buy tickets, how can they do that? How can they find you?
Best way is LakeHickoryHaunts.com. That's always the go-to. You can pretty much find everything we have from there. Or LakeHickoryHaunts.com/tickets. And there's a tickets tab there on the website. We do have a different calendar this year, which is color-coded by green, yellow, orange, red, and then black. So the green nights, and the purpose of that, by the way, is for crowd levels. So green night means go. That means it's least busy, and it's also the least expensive to entice people to come on those nights.
Sure.
And then you go up to the red nights, and that means don't come, don't go, and the ticket prices are more expensive because of the crowd levels.
Right.
And then the black dates are our blackout nights when we turn the lights off at the end of the season, 13th and 14th, which is Friday the 13th. This year is such a cool year.
No doubt, man. Friday the 13th, Halloween on a Saturday night.
And
worked out good for you guys.
Hey, Halloween is a full moon this year.
Oh, man.
And a Saturday.
That's killer.
And October 1st was a full moon too, so it's it's exciting.
Man,
but yes, we're asking customers, buy tickets online. Please, because on-site tickets may and will sell out. So buy tickets online, arrive early. Wear your PPE mask or face covering for your safety and our customers and employees' safety. And LakeHickoryHaunts.com is the way to go.
Awesome, man. Well, I'd like to thank Ryan Settlemeyer again from Lake Hickory Haunts, man. I can't wait to go and see Aquaphobia and get my pants scared off again, because I'm due. I think I'm due.
Yeah, Moose, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot for having me on, man. And I'm looking forward to you guys coming out. So let me know when you guys want to come out. I'll make sure that we take care of you guys really well.
You got it, man. I really appreciate it. Again, this is Ryan Settlemeyer from Lake Hickory Haunts, and this has been Street Circle Drive here on The Mesh.